Starting ahead of time. What's up? It's iCkEdMeL. Give it a second for people to join. Make sure audio is good. Check. The heck is that? Something crawling on me. No, it's just something. I don't know. Double check Facebook. YouTube.
Hi everyone. Let's do.
Hi. How's the audio? How's the connection? Everything good? Kind of last minute, no notifications. We're just in it. Evelyn, thank you. The stars? That's the stars. AP, what's up? AP was here earlier. Like Latina, I know would have no information about the medical stuff like that. Shaquina, what's up? Welcome everybody. We're going to be watching a press conference. It's about an hour long, and I'm like pressed today with a bunch of things I got to do. I got to go to the airport in a while to pick up somebody. So once we start, we're running through. I'm going to play the entire press conference. But this is a story we've been covering about the two children that were removed. The first child, I think, was in March 2021. And I believe it was March, yeah. And that was over the vitamin B12 incident. We did like a 2-hour live stream, and then I did a 20-minute video that has all the information you need to know. So if you haven't seen that, you should go check that out. And there was a press conference today, and Benjamin Crump was there, and so I'm sure we're going to hear a lot. I didn't have time to schedule this out an hour in advance, but we're here, man. We're here, so if you wouldn't mind hitting like, I'd appreciate that. Mo, what's up? Katrina. And yeah, that stuff you found, Katrina, that was interesting. We're gonna have to double check and look into that about the father, but we're not gonna mention nothing about that now. But we'll look into that for sure. I got to tell Mo about that. And so let's see, how far are we in? 2 minutes? Give it a couple more seconds and then we'll get started. Today too, I covered, and I hope you guys are doing good, man. I hope you guys are staying safe, healthy. Oh, bro, let me just tell you something real quick while we give it a minute or two. You actually got a notification. Wow, we need to pop a bottle. I was in the car driving. I just went to go get some gas, whatever, in preparation for tonight. And I was listening to the radio station, and there's like a local thing at some school where like these people were arguing and going back and forth about the mask thing. With should kids wear masks? So I heard this one lady talk about the bus drivers and their concern for the kids, and that's a huge hot button topic in debate. I heard one lady saying about the bus drivers, we got to protect the kids. I heard some kids were getting sick and teachers were afraid, yada, yada. You got to wear masks. Then comes on somebody else, and this other lady was going off. And really quick, this one lady, she was like, you see all these people standing up there? Go look at their Facebook, because I looked at their Facebook and they're walking around with no mask. You see all those people up there? She said, go look at their criminal history. I can't say it here, but I dare you to go check their criminal history back. I'm listening to this on a radio station. I'm like, what? And she's like, oh, you hear those parents screaming out there? And she started telling all these people to take their kids out of the school and go do homeschooling. And she started listing websites. This was in Miami. I'm listening to this on the radio. I'm like, holy, it was heated. It was hot, man. I was like, oh, crap. So I thought that was interesting. It's a huge, I don't know what they're going to do with the schools and how they're going to deal with that with the kids and all that stuff, and expect, the kids to keep the mask on and all that. Hey, Tanika. Tammy, how you doing? So I guess let's get started, man. Liz said, dude, watching the school board meetings is a whole mess. Yo, I didn't know it was that crazy. I was just in my car and I'm like, what the hell is going on in Miami? I couldn't believe it. I was like, yo, and it was heated. Like it was hot. I was like, oh shit. So, okay. All right. So let's see the best screen. I'm going to switch between two different screens. So we'll do this one and we'll also do that one. Okay. Just in case, to try to avoid any kind of copyright issues. All right, let's get it started. Oh, from the beginning.
We are equally honored to stand beside two great attorneys, Derek McBurrows and Luis Baptiste, in this fight to reunite these children with their parents. Attorney Crump and I, as many of you know, have fought for many mothers and fathers throughout our nation who have lost their children's lives to systemic racism, including Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown, and most recently, the families of George Floyd. Typically, we are fighting for a child that has already been lost. Their lives have already been lost to systemic racism. But we are equally committed to fighting systemic racism in all of its forms and wherever it rears its ugly head.
By the way, the GoFundMe has raised $422,000, almost $500,000.
Today, we are going to focus on these two loving parents, Syesha and Tyrone, who have been deprived by CPS of their children. And I want to introduce next Attorney Benjamin Crump, who is one of the world's really leading civil rights leaders, who was recently dubbed by Reverend Al Sharpton as Black America's Attorney General. And we want Syesha and Tyrone, this legal team, to know that as a collective of attorneys, activists, and artists, that we are committed to standing together to break every chain of systemic racism that plagues our nation, whether it's through police brutality, through education, in our healthcare system, and in depriving families of their most fundamental right to raise their children in a safe and loving home. Syesha and Tyrone, we're here to stand beside you and beside your attorneys, Derek McBurrows and Luis Baptiste. We commit to reuniting you with your children. Attorney Benjamin Crump.
Thank you, Attorney Jasmine Rand and Attorney Rebecca Ying, and certainly to all the activists, Darnisha. It is important that we are united. The world knows we're united in this, that we will stand up for our children, that we will speak up for our children, and that we will fight for our children. Because if we don't fight for our children, we can't expect anyone to fight for our children if we don't fight for our children. And so to Syesha and Tyron,
thank you.
We're with you. They had their two children removed from their loving home, a son, and most recently, their newborn daughter. We have all seen the video that went viral of the police taking their newborn daughter from her mother's arms on the side of the road without wearing masks, making a spectacle out of this Black family and publicly dehumanizing them. We have seen the systematic racism too often that when our children, Attorney McBurrows, become early teens, they are targeted by the school to prison pipeline. And because of the systematic racism and oppression that Attorney Rand talked about, they make up the prison industrial complex disproportionately. But this morning, Attorney Lanita Baker, we're having to literally fight them from taking our Black babies. They didn't even get to be Black teens before they got caught up in this trap of intellectual justification of discrimination, where whether it's DCF or it's the Department of Corrections, they are justifying taking our Black children from us. And this we must defend. And so that's why I'm proud to work with these young lawyers, these young activists, the National Bar Association, all standing united to say our children's lives matter and Black lives matter, whether DCF or Department of Corrections. Tyrone and Syesha, we are here to fight with you to the end until we can get your children home back safely to you all. And I thank you again, Attorney Rand, Attorney McBarrows, Attorney Yin, and all the fine attorneys who are giving up their time.
If you guys wouldn't mind hitting like, please, too, that kind of helps out with the algorithm to get it out. So I'd appreciate that.
Energy for something that's not just about Tyesha and Tyrone, but it speaks to issues to the larger society here in America and the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Attorney Crump. And thank you so much for making time to join us this morning. I know you have a very busy schedule, and I believe that the press will say and the panelists will say goodbye to you now. So thank you again for making the time today. Next, we are going to hear from the family. The family is going to say a few words about what has been happening to them on a daily basis, the experiences that they are having, how they're feeling, any messages they would like to give to family, friends, and loved ones.
Everyone to...
Sorry.
Most delighted to give them a platform to
skip a little
share
ahead.
their thoughts and feelings and their messages widely. So I will invite Syesha and Tyrone, the parents of the two children that Attorney Crump was just speaking about, to the stage.
Yeah, we would just like to share just gratitude and appreciation to everyone, you know, just inside our country and outside our country that's reached out to us and gave us unconditional support, to know that there has been an extreme injustice that's been done towards our family. And all we want is our babies home, and to have the people that are responsible for taking our babies hold them accountable.
Thank you, Serafina. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We want our babies back. And then we also want to show gratitude and appreciation to everyone that's been here supporting us and can clearly see what has been done to us. Just know the only thing that we have ever done as parents is make responsible decisions, loving decisions, and along that, since the beginning, and going to get assistance with our son Amin Ra, we have been judged. We've been judged because of how we present ourselves, our culture, the way we look, the way we articulate ourselves, and that has been criminalized. And we live in this country where it's diversity, there's culture, and we have to move forward collectively to be able to respect each other. And we have had our son Amin Ra and our daughter Aset removed from us through the lack of understanding and through being judged. And there's days, every single day, there's no words that I could express to my wife to be like, it's gonna be all right. Because our baby should have never been taken from the first place. If Child Protective Services were doing their jobs properly and communicating with us properly and not judging us, our babies would have never been removed. And so we felt the need from the time Amin Ra was removed to speak out, because we are law-abiding citizens. We are a contribution to our community. We live a life of service. Anybody that needs help, we see that your problem is our problem. So the fact that we have no criminal background, we have no history with Department of Children and Families, the way that they have been attacking us, judging us, and critiquing us, that's outside of their job. You know, it's supposed to be, they're supposed to be working hand in hand with families, not destroying families. And so some of the things they have done towards my family is outside of their job and their job description. The only thing that we have been focused on is getting our babies back for the past 6 months, and recently they're taking our daughter for no reason at all through an agenda, and you can see it clearly that they wanted to take our babies. You know, we had just threats on threats on threats, nothing in regards to building and trying to understand us. So we don't have any negativity in our heart. We don't wish nothing bad on anybody. We just want them to do the right thing, return our children to us, our babies to us, and let us live our lives in peace and honor that Constitution. That's all I'm saying. My family, as a man, my family is my life. It's my job to protect them. And they have attacked us at a level that I'm not able to fulfill my role as a man to protect my babies and my wife. That is my purpose within my life. And the way that they have been coming at us, they are eliminating me from my position to protect my own family. And then judging me on the basis of being a father and a husband, that, you know, passing judgment on me that I'm not allowed, that it's being judged for me to be protective over my family, that I'm supposed to just allow them to just take my babies and to document and misrepresent my wife and myself and my entire family. Those days are over with. So I can feel my wife. We are connected. And sometimes, like, you got to remember, my wife has had 2 of our babies ripped from her in a state of trauma that most will not even understand. You would have to experience it. And every single day we got to wake up. We have to look at our baby setup and look at their swings and look at their bedding, and they're not here, and we have not committed any crime. We have not abused our babies. We have not done anything that is irresponsible as parents. And we have law enforcement watching us and following us and tracking us and listening to us every single second as if we have a criminal background. So if this can happen to us, it can happen to anybody. So even if what has happened in regards to what I don't wish this on no mother, to give birth and my wife even still healing from giving birth, to have to go through that and on the side of a road to have our daughter take from us, the fact they couldn't even escort us and go into a more presentable situational environment, to be dehumanized like that, I have no words for it. But in my position as a man, I don't have any issues with any of their departments from CPS or DCF. People have lied. They have falsified information. They have done a lot of different things. Now, our lawyers are doing their job. But at the same time, we are angry at you. We just want our babies back, and we want everybody that has been a part of removing our children to be held accountable. It's that simple.
So, this is my first time being a mom. And I've been deprived of holding my babies and feeding my babies. I didn't get to see Ra say mama for the first time. And I didn't get to see my babies meet for the first time. I didn't get to see that, and I can't go back and redo that moment. I'll never be able to go back and redo that moment. And I'm just missing out on so many precious moments. This is such a precious time. Like, I feel my daughter. I feel when she's hungry. I know when she's crying. And I can't do anything. She's not here with me. And I'm supposed to be comforting her. I'm supposed to be loving my babies. I'm supposed to be outside with him and having building experiences. And Ra's supposed to be playing his drum with us. And I've been deprived of that. And I don't know how to articulate it. But it just, It hurts so bad. So the only way we get through is literally, there's just a strength that comes every day to get us through the day. And we just stay focused on them being home. And that's all we can do.
So for the people that just joined, just pausing for a second. I made a 20-minute video. If you're new to the story, you're not sure what's going on, I put the link in the description on YouTube. So after or whenever you can go watch that video. It's 20 minutes long because the original stream they did is like an hour and they have a couple of hour streams. You can go check that out. But the first baby was removed, I believe, in March. I'm covering a lot of different stories, so if I get the thing wrong by accident, it's possible. March 11th, the Ra was removed. But at the time, I think it was 15 months old. And it was because the hospital claimed that there was a vitamin B12 deficiency. They stated that allegedly, supposedly, the family removed it, but the family, no, sorry, not removed it. The family refused it, but the family's claiming that they never refused it. Now, that's vegans and vitamin B12. That's been an issue forever. I'm not saying they all have that, but it is a thing where, you know, a lot of times they have to supplement or they have to take some sort of, but however they get it, they have to take it. And especially when breastfeeding, I think the mother needs to take something, and then, you know, the vitamins, I guess, hopefully go through the breast milk. Latino, if Latina wants to come on sometime, like Dr. Latina wants to come on, it would be great for her to explain it. Somebody with some sort of medical history. But at the same time, guys, like I said in the 20-minute video, I haven't seen the blood work. You know what I'm saying? None of us have seen the blood work, so we don't know what's what. And, you know, the hospital's not going to release that because of HIPAA. So that was the first situation, the B12. And they took the child away from the hospital. And then now, recently, they had a new baby, a 10-day-old baby, okay? The caseworkers came to the house to check on the other 3 children. I guess they knew about the baby. The baby was not registered. The police didn't know about the baby. And so when they went there to the house and they asked about the wife, he told the people to, you know, contact his attorneys. And I guess they didn't like that answer, or they didn't find that sufficient. And so they went and put court orders. But the mom was in the backyard with the baby. And so I believe the baby was born at home. Obviously, it doesn't take a genius. They didn't want them to know about the baby. And apparently, and I didn't know that, if you have one child that's removed and taken, it's in the system, they need to know about all your other children. I guess that's just the thing. Now, I'm not saying who's right or wrong as far as, because I didn't see the blood work. Vitamin B12 deficiency is a pretty serious thing. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to take my vitamin C today. Oh, I didn't take my pill today. No, vitamin B12 deficiency is pretty serious if that's what it was. It's very serious. Now, the other aspect to this is the doctor. The doctor, Sally Smith, super controversial. The things that I read about her, I don't like. She's removed multiple children from families, and from the article that I saw, got it wrong multiple times. Latina, I can call you if you're okay, because I don't know if I should do the Discord. I can call you if you want to get on the phone. I'm going to play some more of this, but I can call you, and if you want to chime in, maybe even right now, since time is limited, you let me know in the chat or text me, and I can just call you directly, and people can hear you when I call you. I'm going to have to call you from my Google Voice, but you let me know. And play a little more.
Thank you both so much for
I think that's it. So
sharing
yeah,
that with us.
It's like 50 minutes long. The attorneys might talk, but if you want me to call and you want to chime in, I would love, and I'm sure everybody else would love to hear your thoughts. Let me get this thing set up here real quick. Yes? Okay. So I'm going to call you. I'm going to hit you up. It would have been cool to do video, but since I'm not prepared and it's last minute, we can do something maybe another time, a dedicated video. But I'm calling you right now. Let's see.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to the live.
Thank you. Now, am I echoing?
No, not on my end. No, you're good.
Okay. Well, thank you for inviting me to chime in. I do want to clarify for everybody that I have gone on several other channels, and my name is, well, I go by Doctora Latina, but my professional name is Dr. Amy Salerno. And so I'm one and the same person. I am a board certified family practitioner. I've been a physician for 30 years. I just want to clarify this now so people don't think I'm just shooting from the hip or something. I've been a physician for 30 years. I did a 4-year residency in family medicine, which is really from the womb to the tomb, we say, cradle to the grave, old-timey kind of thing. And then I did a fellowship at Brown Medical School up in Rhode Island in high-risk obstetrics and maternal child health. And I did 6 years of obstetrics, delivering babies, NICU babies, taking care of babies.
Wow. Oh, you took care of NICU babies? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. I did it all, honey. Then I got old,
that's awesome. Okay.
Now I just do day one of life to the grave. But and I did a lot of lactation counseling. So what is it that I have some thoughts on this case.
Right. Yeah, I'm curious. Did you get to watch the 20-minute video? I don't know if you had time for that yet. The one that I posted the other day.
Yes.
Okay. And just now. Yeah, I'm curious to know as far as your thoughts on like the vitamin B12 thing, the vegan thing. Is that something that happens in the hospital? Have you encountered that? Is that deficiency a problem for when they're pregnant, when they're breastfeeding, that kind of thing?
Okay. So here, I did post at the beginning of the chat live before you actually came on. I posted 3 articles if folks are interested in, and they're easy, quick reads. And they're about the significant health risks for babies that are breastfed by vegan moms, and also for babies and toddlers who are fed vegan diets, and the significant health risks. That is not to say that it can't be done, but it does need to be done with great intentionality and great care and understanding about how to round out vegan babies' breastfeeding and the introduction of food for a baby that's on a vegan diet. And I will say that the vegan diet does not give adequate, for any human being, adequate B12. And so you have to supplement, if you're a vegan, B12.
Right.
And in the breast milk, even if mom is adequately supplementing her own self, there is inadequate or insufficient B12, vitamin B12, passing through breast milk into baby. So that puts the baby at risk for rickets, soft bones, amongst other developmental problems.
I read about that too. Sometime I read that whatever the mother's taking doesn't necessarily mean that the baby's going to get all of that through the breast milk.
Correct.
Okay.
That is true. Although, interestingly, parenthetically, guys, what's ironic is if a woman's pregnant and she drinks alcohol, there is no filter like a liver. It goes, so like, let's say a woman drinks a shot of alcohol. The woman herself, that shot of vodka or whatever goes through the liver as the filter, and it clears the toxins out. But that shot of vodka goes directly into the umbilical cord of the baby, and that baby gets a shot of vodka.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why there's such risks with drinking alcohol, because there's no filter. That poor baby gets the full shot, 2, 3, 4, whatever. So I am not watching right now, so I don't know if folks have questions. I mean,
if you guys have any questions, I'm going to ask you something else too. But yeah, if you can type in some questions, it's Dr. Amy Salerno on the line. I appreciate you calling in. What I was going to ask you too is I don't know if you would know, but if a baby is vitamin B12 deficient, is that something you can just look at somebody and tell, like physically outer or not?
Well, yes, you can. It depends how long they've been vitamin B12 deficient. One of the articles that I posted for the community, your community, which I'm a part of as well, on the chat, discusses an Australian baby that had severe case of rickets, which folks may remember a long time ago when you didn't get the sufficient vitamins, you'd get those curvy, soft bones, so your whole legs would go into a curve.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, you can, yes, there are physical findings. And I wasn't sure on the video that you showed yesterday, was it the first child that was 10 months old that the father took videos of?
Yeah,
and the mother
it was I think at the time the baby was 15-month old, but that was the video though. That's the first one, raw. And he was showing the video and he's like, the baby's fine. The baby's fine. You see, he's showing that.
All right. So here's the thing. First of all, the baby's beautiful. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
However, one thing I did notice, although I did not have an opportunity to examine the baby from head to toe, but if you go back to that video, if you watch the baby sitting up, he does not have the neck stability. He's kind of wavering back and forth, much more than even a 10-month-old would do, let alone a 15-month-old. So then you're looking at what is the neurologic development? Is he delayed? Is there been some effect based on the poor nutrition? I can't answer that. I can only comment that I am surprised by the way he was sitting. He was not as stable as I would anticipate a baby of 10 to 15 months old to be. We would need all of the medical information on that baby, and including labs, etc. But we don't have the right to ask for that. Obviously, Mel, you and everybody knows that. And the hospital, by law, HIPAA law, like you were just saying, cannot reveal that.
Right, the hospital's not going to do it, yeah.
They can't by law.
Right.
So what would be the most authentic and transparent, information that the parents and their attorney could give would be to offer up those findings so that we would really have a balanced understanding of the truth.
That would be interesting if they did. I don't know if that they will, but that would be interesting if they offered up that, or they just put it out for transparency. I don't know.
Exactly. So how can we say that it's a bad decision on the part of the doctor? But I do have some thoughts.
I want to ask you about the doctor. Did you read that article that I sent you? Do you have time?
I did. Well, first of all, it was from USA Today, which, I mean, I wouldn't call that a scholarly article.
Okay.
But, if indeed this doctor is saying things to the parents and getting in their faces like the article claims, that is wholly inappropriate. And I do think, I sadly would say that in my profession, the healing art of taking care of people as human beings, as in a compassionate way, has really fallen by the wayside. And I think there are a lot of very unkind physicians with poor bedside manner. And I know sometimes I myself can be abrupt because we're told see 25 patients a day, go, 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 go. And it's hard. But when you have a specialty like in child abuse, you're not seeing 25 of them a day. You are given a huge chunk of time to really evaluate a patient, discern, reflect, review, and that there is really no excuse if a physician or any healthcare provider is unkind to a parent. And I really did like the example of these other child abuse specialist out in the Midwest. I don't know if it was Chicago or Ohio that they said in the article, and she gave such a different approach to looking into the possibility of abuse. And it sounds like, and I'm not at all trying to disparage Dr. Smith, but it sounds like she does a more sort of interrogation style, and that other Midwest doctor sounds as if she does a more sort of collaborative, looking into kind, compassionate style. And I do believe that from my own experience as a physician, unfortunately having seen many, many, abused children, whether it's physical or SA, I'm sure people know what that is. It works out much better if you are kind and you are not threatening to the child or to the parent.
Right. Well, thanks. I mean, so in like the whole thing, I'm thinking with just, so this is something that happens. The vegan, sometimes there's cases where, the baby may not be getting enough vitamins. And in that case, I guess if the hospital feels that there's a danger, if the parents don't want to agree to the, therapy, then they have the right to, call CPS, like report it, I guess.
Yes. I mean, one does have the right, but you hope you don't have to get to that point.
Right.
I mean, what would be better would be hopefully to sit down with parents and to literally walk through all the results and findings that are of great concern, and to see if the parent can understand, which obviously these are very smart folks, that the dad and the mom that just came on are very articulate, very intelligent.
Right, for sure.
But maybe emotionally they can't understand. So how do you help somebody to put their guard down and to not only hear what's being said, but to listen and to really try to understand and try to, collaborate? I do think that, I know that, for instance, when I was in training and doing my obstetrics training, I don't know if the folks on the chat have ever heard of the, we say La Leche or the La Leche League, but that was a really, really big movement back 30 years ago. La Leche is milk. And basically it was a whole movement on breastfeeding, empowering women in doing only lactation. Sometimes they would even propose that it would be good up to the age of 5 to breastfeed your child. And if you introduce food, let's even say at 6 months, you were a terrible parent. It was just unbelievable. And I do remember going to a La Leche meeting to learn, because we were in training, we needed to learn more about the different positions in terms of, let's say vegan was not a thing, but La Leche was back then. We needed to learn what are their ideas, where do they stand on things. And I remember one of the women getting up and saying that it was cruel and inhuman when women are put in the crucifix position, like Jesus on the cross is what she said, when they're having a C-section, that their arms are put out and they're put, you know what I'm saying? Well, how do I say this? Your arms are put out and they're wrapped and held down. Well, hello, we have to get you IV, we have to intubate you maybe. I mean, it's not to make you be crucified, but they were so adamant that those kind of important surgical positions that we do have to place women in sometimes to deliver a baby by C-section, they were very adamant that we were putting women in a position like Christ on the cross. So my point is that sometimes some of these movements, like a veganism or the La Leche, can have extreme positions or policy ideas that I think can really manipulate young parents.
Let me ask you this too a little bit.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if my explanation was good or not.
Yeah, no, I think it was good. The whole thing too with the at home birth thing, because that was part of the problem. The problem started with vitamin B12, and then the whole thing is they had another child that like wasn't registered, and I guess apparently you're supposed to, if your child is already in the system, I guess if you have other kids, like you have to report them. I mean, is that something too that's like, I don't know.
Well, I think you're talking about two different things.
Okay.
Number one, home births are done very often, and I think it can be a great option. I've had friends that have done home births. However, when you do a home birth, it is incumbent upon a responsible parent or parents to have what we call a birth plan. And the birth plan has to be done in conjunction with the midwife that's going to come to the house. And it has to be done in conjunction with an obstetrician or a family practitioner like myself who can come if it's an emergency and do a forceps if need be, or take somebody's C-section. It can't just be done willy-nilly.
Right.
So I think number one is there's nothing wrong with a home birth if a woman is a low-risk patient and the baby is, generally the prenatal course has been healthy, if it's done with a birth plan. So, but if it's done willy-nilly, which on another true crime program on YouTube, one of the detectives who's retired was saying that out in California now, there are hundreds of home births, and these babies are dying or die for whatever reason, and they've never been registered as even having been born. And this has become a big, big problem. So I think for even apart from CPS and the fact that this couple was already, quote, in the system, we need to look at how are we doing home births? Are we doing them responsibly, etc. And in the case of this young couple, if their child is the first child still in foster care?
Yeah, they have both kids now, but the first one is still in there too. Yeah.
Okay, so why? I mean, why
I
is
don't
that?
know.
And if indeed there's an open case, the law does require the parent to inform the case worker that there's a new birth.
Right. That is a thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the law. Now, I agree. I think Big Brother is getting their hands into lots of people's business in this country, and the government is in some ways getting bigger and bigger. And I did see in chat a number of people saying, and I agree, it's like in some ways we're not even our own people anymore. We're just kind of like we belong to the government in some funny way. But then what I would also say is we also belong to Google and iPhone, because every time I look up something on, veganism, suddenly I'm getting ads on, would you like a vegan diet?
No,
So they're tracking everything that we're doing, and that's not the government, that's the free market.
Right.
So we pay a big price, I think, for our freedom.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you calling. I know this was just kind of unexpected, but if more comes from this, maybe we can actually do like a pre-plan. Like if they ever release the medical records or something like that. I don't see it happening, but if they do, then it would be awesome to bring you back on and get more of your thoughts.
Right. I just want to say to anybody that just is listening or whatever, I mean, it makes me sad to make something into an ethnic or a racial phenomenon when indeed it might not be. I don't know, but in this case, it does seem as if this Dr. Sally Smith, I think her name is, has really had her finger on all different ethnicities and races. So I'm not really sure in this case it can be called a racial issue. Right. I would just really hope and pray that this couple with the help of their lawyer, and if they have a therapist or whatever, can come to an understanding of how they can collaborate with the authorities so that they can get their children back.
All right.
That's all.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope that your chat hasn't freaked out by what I've had to say.
No, I don't think so. But if they did, it's okay.
All right. Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. You take care now. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Amy Salerno. So there's more to the video to play. I think that like the attorneys come on and speak, so I'm gonna play a little bit of that. For the people that are still confused about the story, like I said, check the link in the description. It's a 20-minute video that I made to kind of catch you up with everything. To me, from what I've seen, with the aspect of Sally Smith, so far as race, I don't see that, because if you look at those articles and you look at the different stories, there's people of all races, and a lot of it was white people that lady had the kids removed and allegedly done falsely. But I also get it too. In this climate and everything, that's going to kick things up. It's going to amp things up. It's going to get the attention on the story. But let me play some more of this, because I think by 15, maybe 20 more minutes or so, and I got to probably head out. But you know too, with what the father was saying, I saw one video where he was talking about the weights and the BMI and all that stuff for kids. I personally, just my own personal opinion, I think that stuff is outdated. I think they're scaling that stuff for kids to be obese. My daughter eats a ton of food. She's petite. She's just very active, and she's kind of lightweight, but you know, she got a little belly, but she's good. But I remember when she was first born, a couple of times they're there and they're like looking at the chart and they're looking at the weight and they're like, okay, you're fine, but you need to kind of get it more up. And I'm like, what? Like, she already eats a lot. What should I feed her? Unhealthy foods 24/7 or something to try to get, you know what I'm saying? I had a friend that dealt with that too in Texas, but his kid was actually below the acceptable level. And so when it comes to that kind of stuff, I do agree with what that father was saying with that part. I think it's ridiculous, because the last time I took my daughter to the doctor.
Look at that.
Oh, thank you, Lindsay.
We got a new member.
Appreciate that. A little
Welcome
weird
to the
right
dark
now,
side.
The last time I took her, I felt weird by the questions the doctor was asking me. She was asking about school, the dentist, which is fine, but I felt like almost like as if it was like a caseworker or something. Like it wasn't just about her health. It was like weird kind of like stuff that I don't remember them asking before. And I was like, and then you see her writing, I'm like, well, what are you doing? What's going on here? Do I need to like be careful how I answer? Like, what the hell? You know? But let's play a little bit more. Let's see what's going on, man. And I really appreciate you guys coming through tonight for a bit. And thank you, Lindsay, for being a member. The members areas in the community tab, YouTube is having issues. They're not sending notifications. So I'll let you guys know. I'm trying to do one video a week for the members.
Thank you both so much for lawyers of record, Syesha and Tyron. I will welcome them to the stage.
So here's the lawyers now. Let's check it out.
Good morning, world. Thank you, Attorney Ying. Thank you, Attorney Benjamin Crump, Attorney Rand. This is just it's a traumatic experience that this family.
Yo, Pound Cake Mom. Yo. Okay, first of all, Brianna, I agree. Thank you. We obviously agree together for sure. And Pound Cake Mom says, so if the kids are obese, can you call CPS? Imagine if they did that, right? Like if they're doing it for the other way around, shouldn't they do it the other way? Not that I would want that, but if we're going to play that game, right?
Family has had to endure. And I just want to bring attention to Ty and Cy because I just really celebrate their love, their strength, their endurance, their perseverance, all the accusations, the false narrative that's been created against them.
So as far as the lactating thing, supposedly they went to the doctor because she was trying to transition Ra to like regular food, I guess, get him off the breast milk, and it wasn't working. And supposedly, I guess one of the articles said for malnutrition, or just but the family said they were going to get him supplemental fluids, however you want to say it. And so they took the child there because they were having trouble with that, which a lot of mothers have problems with breastfeeding. That's a whole thing, and it's the insecurity thing. And they do have coaches and a lady that comes in, but we're talking about like 15 months in. We're not talking about when the baby was just born, okay? But they do have that stuff. Moms struggle with that sometimes. And so that's why they went in there for the B12 thing. The newborn being taken away is because they claim, and from the video that I played, it seems like that's what it was. They didn't know about this newborn child, and you're supposed to register this child, and it wasn't registered according to the police. And so if you just have a kid and they weren't allowed entry, they just said, you got to go talk to my attorney, then I guess that's going to be a problem.
That's just so unjust, so against the legislative intent, for the Florida statutes,
But I wonder why they haven't gotten back. What is CPS fighting back for the first child? Like, why weren't they allowed to get Rob back? Like, how long is there a process? How long does that process take? Now they took the other child, unfortunately, 10-day. That's horrible too. I do feel, for the mother. I mean, as far as or for the child to be separated like that, I don't know. Maybe they're thinking if Ra had the same issue, maybe they're assuming the same issue is going to be with the new child. What happened when they took the child to the doctor or the hospital to get examined, the newborn,
Chapter 39 for anyone that's interested. They're totally ignoring the law. They're totally ignoring these parents' constitutional right guaranteed by the 14th Amendment via
the other. That's the other thing too. Sorry to keep pausing, but Momo said, "Why was the other 3 kids taken?" Oh, and by the way, did I think how do Ali? Thank you for the super chat. Said excellent work as a licensed mental health therapist. I believe there is trauma and PTSD for the parents and children. CPS, such trauma causes severe mental health issues. Thank you for that. And Momo said, what was the other 3 kids taken in return? I don't know. So they had 3 other kids. I think it was on the father's side. The father did something in foster care. I don't know if the kids were in the house and when the situation happened with Ra, maybe they temporarily took the kids and then returned them back, or were they taken for something else? I have no idea. But yeah, there were 3 other kids that apparently were taken and then returned. So, I don't know.
The equal protection clause and the due process clause to raise their children, to practice their vegan lifestyle, to practice the religion that they would like to practice, their faith that this Constitution provides, without judgment. I want to also bring attention to the visitation experience. Like I'm permanently changed by, just going to the visitation experience at Safe Children's Coalition. When I shadowed their visitation experience with Ra and with Aset. I mean, the facility was absolutely disgusting. Really? I could just see the tension on Syesha's face when she saw that, they were still trying to engage their children, still playing the drums with their children, still, expressing and imputing joy in their family in such a tough and traumatic circumstance with somebody watching over their shoulder, the time in them saying it's 5 minutes left. I can only sense the pain that they feel as a father of a 13-year-old myself. I will never be the same after experiencing that type of pain and shame that they had to go through. And they did it with a smile, because their 5 children were together. In that moment, they still, focused.
5 children. That's what I'm saying. You got to watch a 20-minute video that explains everything. But yeah, 5 total. But 2 of the kids were from this mother and father together. The 3 other kids, I think it's another mother or something like that. Like according to what one person told me, but I don't want to speak too much until I confirm that stuff. I really think you should keep an open mind because I think maybe there's going to be more that comes out. Maybe we're not getting the full thing. I think that it would be interesting to see the blood work too, what the blood levels were for the B12. And I'm also curious. I mean, you guys got to tell me in the chat. Let's say, because we don't know, we haven't seen it. If the child was B12 deficient, do you guys think they should have been removed? Or I don't know. It's just too complicated because the parents claim they didn't deny it. Should they have been spoken to? Should they have been coached? What happened in that first incident with the B12? Because that's where everything started. All the issues started.
Focused on love. They focused on the right aspect. And I just really want to bring attention to their strength, to their solidarity. And I celebrate their perseverance. And we will bring these children home. The next legal steps that we're taking now is we're filing a Franks motion. For anyone that's interested, it's a United States Supreme Court case. It's Franks v. Delaware. And ultimately, the state has submitted a probable cause affidavit that has a substantial amount of fake news in it, false accusations in it, that they submitted, to the court through a verified motion. This verified motion is essentially it's an attestation of good faith, that these facts were accurate, these facts were true, that they had a good faith belief in it, and we have explicitly refuted evidence that shows that it's false. There are multiple false narratives that they're using to unjustly separate these children from their family. And we're taking every legal action, to make them hold every actor and even the court respectfully accountable. We're also filing a motion for reconsideration because we believe that there's some misapplication of the facts and the misapplication of the law. We're also considering filing an appeal with the second DCA. And since the family has constitutional rights that have been violated, we may try to get this case in a federal court so they can have a better, fair, more equal opportunity to have their rights, heard before a competent court of jurisdiction. I just want to thank our team. I want to thank Tamika Mallory for shedding her light and love and advocacy on this matter. Tatiana Ali, Attorney Lanita Baker, Attorney Jasmine Henderson, obviously Attorney Benjamin Crump and Attorney Rand, obviously my co-counsel, Attorney Louis Baptiste. I thank Attorney Stephen Webster for the mentorship. We thank Attorney Dennis Slate, a Houston-based lawyer who's going to be joining our legal team here very shortly, a subject matter expert with this type of case. And we will win this case. We will bring these children back home. And lastly, very briefly, Ahmed Ra's name means light. And Aset's name means bring all things together. And I just want to assure you that the light will set with these children safely back with their mother and their father. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Well, they got the big boys now for the attorneys.
So much, Attorney McBurrows.
Let's get past a little bit to the next person.
The federal entity covered a lot of the larger issues. I won't repeat much of what he covered, but I will cover, for those of you who are interested, the several statutory violations committed by DCF. And so, one, it's important to recognize that the federal and Florida Constitution recognize that parents have the right to make decisions as it relates to their children. Number one, I think it hasn't been said, but it needs to be said, that these are two healthy children. Aset is a healthy, beautiful baby girl. She was in full health when DCF ripped her out of her parents' hands. There's not a single record that exists that refutes the fact that Aset is a full, healthy baby girl, and yet and still she was ripped out of her parents' hands. That fact alone.
Well, there was no records because she wasn't registered, but yeah,
shows that this case is.
I like that they're challenging the CPS thing though, or DCF, whatever they're going to call it. I think that's good.
Not based on any Chapter 39 factors, or that this case is not based on any logic or law or intent or interest to protect. That this case is based on an animus that has.
With the car thing and the seatbelt thing, so we can't tell because they didn't show like the video, but the father said that supposedly she took the baby out of the car seat. So I don't know. We didn't see like the video. It shows them already stopped, so there's no way to tell. But he rebutted the police officer or somebody, whoever said that, with that she took the child out because they were stopped. So, but I said that too. The whole, I mean, if I knew I was getting stopped and pulled over by a cop, I probably wouldn't have had the baby in my hands unless we had been there for a prolonged period of time and just to comfort the baby. But I'd want to make sure they see, because you just know how cops are.
Been developed against this family, against their beliefs, against their practices, against who they are, against how they choose to eat, against what they choose to eat. The very core items that the foundation of our country was built to protect are being attacked right now. If this family can be attacked because they choose to believe what they believe in, if this family can be attacked because they choose to practice a vegan lifestyle, then that shows that no family is safe, that no child is safe, because Aset, again, is a beautiful, healthy baby girl. And yet, as of this moment, she's not at home. It's important that we know that prior to DCF taking her out of her mother's hands, every single minute of her life, she was with her mother. Every single second that she existed, she was with her mother. And not only was she with her mother, but the mother and the father had a full support team that consisted of every specialist and every medical personnel you could require and want for this child was already in the home. That information is in DCF's possession. And we're hoping that DCF reviews that information and makes the intelligent, right, and legal decision and immediately restores Aset back to her family because that's where she belongs. But we'll want to note that. Secondly, addressing Amin-Ra. Amin-Ra is a healthy baby boy. And I think the narrative that hasn't been displayed and that needs to be put out is that every single time Amin-Ra was brought for any medical attention, he was brought by this family. This family saw at every single instance, they saw help.
That is true. When they did bring the baby where she couldn't, when they wanted to get supplemental fluids, they brought the child in, Ra.
They sought help. They sought guidance. It was all them. This isn't a case. In often these cases, you have what we call mandatory reporters, which are school officials, daycare officials, and you get a mandatory report that at that point initiates an investigation. That's not this case. There's no mandatory reporters. All we have are parents who love their children making the best decisions.
That's what I'm saying too. The medical records.
And so based on that,
I feel like the medical records would clear a lot of this up. But like, again, yeah, the hospital for sure is not going to show it. But if they just put the medical records out, which who knows, maybe they're going to say, oh, well, it was tampered with. But if they put the medical records out, that would just wham, bam, you know?
Alone, under the DCF Chapter 39, under 01, which is definitions, under subsection 47 and subsection 35, recognize that these parents have the right to seek their choice of medical treatment, that these parents have the right to practice their beliefs and get medical treatment that complies with their beliefs, that is safe. And the record needs to be clear that at every single instance, these parents have done that, that Sy and Ty at every single instance have always made the best medical decisions for their children, and that they're going to continue to do so. And so our demand and our goal is simple: to bring these kids home. We're exploring all the legal options that Attorney McBurrows spoke about. But generally, outside of those options, we're calling on DCF to do what's right. We're calling on DCF, its staff, CPS, everyone involved in that, every stakeholder involved in that process to recognize what's going on here, to recognize the injustice, and to recognize that these children need to be back with their parents. And as far as a timeline, we're working immediately. And so I can tell you that we're facilitating conversations with DCF, that we are conversing, that we are speaking. If our goal is to have the children home by 5 p.m. today, whether or not that's going to happen, we can't be sure of. And insofar as addressing the legal timeline, there are hearings that are being planned and set. Some of the motions that we filed, we're filing motions to expedite, motions to reconsider. And our hope is that we can get some of those timelines expedited. And so this case is full throttle. We're working on this case all day, every day, 18 hours a day. We're in contact with the family and with this team to bring these kids home. And so it's a moving timeline. We're requesting hearings as soon as they're available. And with that, if there's any questions, I'll defer to Ms. Yang.
Thank you so much, Attorney Baptiste. That was
Turquoise, long time.
fantastic. Thank you, Attorney McBurrows. We're going to move to a brief Q&A section. There's a lot of questions in the chat. Some were emailed in. There is a Q&A button for attendees at the bottom of your screen. I'm going to bring Mr. McBurrows back to the stage to answer some questions on behalf of the family. I'll also bring the family at this time.
Sure, I can grace the surface. Just for anybody that doesn't know, a dependency hearing is confidential. Those records are typically sealed. If I would love, to release the probable cause affidavit so the public can see how salacious and misrepresented people who are attested to, do what's in the best interest of the children haven't. That has been ultimately attacked on these family beliefs, and false information has been presented to the court, which has unjustly separated these precious children from their family. So one of their chief concerns is with the older child, Amin Ra, 18-month-old, was medical neglect. Just it's up under the umbrella of medical neglect. That the mother didn't seek medical attention prior to a medical visit back on February 26th at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. We've explicitly provided evidence that completely refutes that. It's a complete lie. It's a complete fabrication. Back in January, we produced records to CPI, Manatee County Sheriff's Office, their Child Protective Investigations Unit. We presented information to the Children Legal Services, and we presented information to the court that the mother sought medical attention for this child at Inglewood Community Hospital, January 30th of this year. Yet they keep presenting this, a lie. Saying that the mother never sought medical attention. The mother was having lactation issues. This is a first-time mother who was seeking help. Yet she was criminalized. Yet she was labeled so that she could ultimately be misbranded, so that they can justify removal and removal from this, these children from their family. So that in a nutshell is it. Then, for example, with the newborn child, they're piggybacking off of Amin Ra being in a temporary medical placement to justify their removal of this child. But Florida law is explicit. When there's a child that's that's up under the jurisdiction of the court, and there's a newborn child that's born into the situation, CPS was supposed to do a 30-day assessment prior to that child being born, the newborn being born. And they were supposed to come in and do a safety assessment plan. It was supposed to be a team building intervention time, but they waited to just basically ultimately misrepresent things to this family so that they could come and remove this child unjustly. And we have all the medical records. We have all the reports from Child Protective Services to present this to a court of competent jurisdiction to prove that.
I'm curious to see, man. I'm curious to see the trial.
Another question that came in was, who are the children currently being fostered by, and are they together?
And ultimately, I want to, even although I believe this person is a bad actor, I have a good faith to say that. But we're gonna, since this child is currently placed these children are currently placed in this estranged relative's care.
Oh wait, what happened?
I think Attorney Gross. I think Attorney Gross went on mute. But I think what he was finishing is that the children are together. We don't want to give out information.
He said estranged relative, so they did put it with the children with a relative. I mean, I guess so it did go to family. I thought it was like a random. I thought they went to saying like, oh, it's a white family. Yeah.
Related to who they're with for their safety. And so what we'll say is the children are together, that they're not with their parents, they're not where they belong, and that they're not with the person that the parents would choose. Their setting is not a setting in which the parents would choose. And so that's what we'll limit our comments to on that issue.
It's just kind of interesting because I just remember the whole time it's just, they're with a white family, they're with a white family. We didn't get to pick. They didn't choose a family. They're supposed to choose a family. Apparently they are with family. It's just strange, but they are with family. That's what I'm saying. We're going to be following this because there's going to be little things kind of popping up here and there, but it's an interesting observation.
Because that is protected information.
Thank you so much. Another question that came in was a question about how long the process might take to reunite the family, and what is the expected timing for the family and for the legal process.
And so that's a
They probably cut his mic on purpose.
Somewhat moving question to answer. And that's the reason that's a moving question is right now there's two separate cases. And so Amin Ra's case, of course, is the senior case, and it's already been pending. And so there's already been certain findings of fact that make it so that case has to be litigated. It's going to require more work. And so we don't have a firm timeline on that case yet, only because the one's not available. Secondly, on Asset's case, because that case, that train has just left the station, essentially, we're hoping that we can, get a hearing on case, before September is our hope to get a hearing on that case within the next week and week and a half. And that ultimately, I'll say it, our goal is for DCF to recognize that Asset is a healthy baby girl and that all the resources that any mother, and let's just be clear, all the resources that any mother could want are already in place. Not that they could need, because I can tell you that all these resources that they have aren't necessary. But for the sake of Asset's health and her wealth, We have all these resources available, and we're hoping the DCF recognizes that and returns her, like I said, within either today or before the end of the week is our expectation and our hope based upon the documents that we have given them that show that she's in perfect health.
Thank you so much. Another question came in that Ty mentioned 3 other children, and I think the press just wanted some clarification on who those children are and where they are currently.
And those 3 children are with Ty and Cy. So essentially, I want to make sure that I'm within the bounds of the law. But we have another Child Protective Investigations Department or from a neighboring county that have deemed Ty and Cy a suitable and safe placement. Their 3 children are currently in their care now.
Okay, so the 3 children, they're with the Ty and Cy. Tyrone and Syesha.
I've spent, since Tuesday, I've spent over 70 hours, 80 hours with this family. I see how they pay attention to literally every detail of their children's lives. So essentially, you have an arbitrary decision from another CPI office, Manatee County Sheriff's Office, their Child Protective Investigations Unit, that have arbitrarily departed from the application of the law. And again, they're misrepresenting facts. Even, for example, Tuesday evening, Ty explicitly called the Child Protective Investigator Unit, the CPI and the CPI supervisor to produce their daughter. Ty even called, even in conjunction with me, approximately the Manatee County Sheriff's Office, their online dispatch office, approximately 11:30 that night to request to speak to an on-call investigator. We spoke to Allie, operator ID number 11, saying, hey, we have a court order to produce this child. You know what I mean? We want to comply with this court order. Yet Manatee County Sheriff's Office the following day, and that wasn't obviously that wasn't allowed. The on-call investigator, they couldn't basically operate from an external request. They had to get an internal request to come in and retrieve the child. So the family was forced to produce this child the following morning. Now, Manatee County Sheriff's Office, being on notice, duly noticed that this parents was going to en route to produce this child, chose to make a circus of this event and pulled them over on the side of the road and treated these parents like criminals. That's the video that you saw, that received over approximately 3 million views. That was so unnecessary, so unjust. It was discriminatory. It was meant to, and I don't know if they want a promotion or they want to, ride the curtail of, Syesha's success, but it's totally uncalled for. We had a total of 4 children in this vehicle, and they chose to exploit this thing instead of basically, treat it in a humane and dignified way. And we're going to bring light to it in the very best way that we can.
Thank you so much.
It's interesting. It's really...
Another question that came in was, do the parents have visitation on a regular basis?
Good question.
Right now, I believe the family is visiting the family has visitation once a week.
Thank you so much. We're getting a lot of questions about specifics, and I would just like to remind the press that we appreciate those questions. They are fantastic, but because this is an ongoing matter in court, and as the family's attorneys have mentioned, a lot of the information is protected, and we are also trying to protect as many individuals' privacy as possible, including the children. So there are certain questions that I will not ask. I'm going to vet them right now. And I will let the press know it's not because we do not want to engage with you. It's not because the family doesn't want to answer those questions. It's because we want to preserve their rights. And
I'm kind of curious. I'd like the web sleuths to kind of, I'm just curious. I feel like there's so much more to this. I don't know.
And not have any prejudice from this press conference going forward. I have written in the chat as well that all requests for individual interviews and follow-up can be directed to wehavetherighttoberight@gmail.com. We're going to go for one last question, and then we are going to wrap our press conference up. So the last question, and I think that I would ask Cy and Ty to answer this question. The question was, what can we do to support the family?
Don't turn your cheek. Don't play the blind eye. Be aware of what's going on in this country and outside this country in regards to if you are a parent, if you are a grandparent, an aunt, uncle, cousin, just know that we have agencies in place that have the ability to remove children without you breaking the law or abusing your niece, nephew, son, or that sort of thing. But just be more aware and have that conversation, and just bring your awareness to know that we have things in place that agencies like Child Protective Services can come right in and remove your children for false allegations or whatever the case may be. Just be more aware. And in regards to my family, keep speaking out. Keep speaking out. And another thing is, we're always going to emphasize how grateful we are as a family that people have prioritized our situation with Amin Ra and with our set. Like, people have reached out from all over and have literally empathized to the level where it's as if they were family themselves. So we thank you for empathizing at that level, for you not to have met us before, but you just know within your hearts that we're good parents. So thank you to all those people. And anybody that may have any questions or maybe kind of so-so about this situation, I'm going to speak on behalf of me as a man and as a husband and as a father, that my life is this woman right here, our children, and we also have 3 other children currently in our household. Our life revolves around health, balance, and doing what we can to guide our children and also be that light for any other child that may be needed within our community. That is our entire life. So if anybody don't know who we are, if you go online and you look at the images of us, that's our day. We spend a lot of time in nature. We spend a lot of time amongst people. And it's just to share a positive light towards the next generation. So right now, we have been stripped from our rights to having that ability to even protect our own babies. But through this process of getting our babies back, we feel the need to also spread awareness about the situation, because we don't want this to continue to happen to other families. So I just want to say just thank you to all those people that have reached out from an unconditional level, because the way we see it is how people have empathized, where they see our problem as their problem, it's vice versa. We don't want this happening to you as well. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of our family for that unconditional support, and just be more aware and don't be naive to what is going on in this world. If this can happen to us, it can happen to you. I'm just being honest with you. We have no criminal background. We have no history with DCF. We have done nothing wrong. People have asked us, do you wish you've done anything different? No, because my wife and myself, every decision that we make is very precise and very thought out. So we know who we are. We know what our culture is. We know what we represent. We know that we value health, right? We know that we value community. So everything that they are attacking in amongst what my family represents is a part of the future, which is community, working together, which is health. These are things that are needed to make sure that the next generation is thriving. So thank you for the support, the continued support. And we're here to get our babies back and also hold everyone accountable and have justice. So there's a light that shed and said, if we're not able as adults to protect our own babies, what are we doing as a collective, as adults? We're more than just a career, going to a job. You know what I mean? We have to be able to protect the babies and be transparent about that. No group of people has the right to force their way of thinking on another group of people. This is a world of diversity. So as long as you are operating in the confinements of the law, you have the right to express your culture. And that's all we are. Our culture is extremely connected to nature and the natural ways of living. Nothing that we do is detrimental to our babies. And it's already proof, because we already have 3 other children in the home. I want everybody to know that video that you seen on the side of the road where our newborn was taken, there were 3 other children, an 8, a 7, and a 5-year-old also in that car. So how can anybody rationally see that, okay, there's 3 other children in this home that are safe, but then there's another, then there Amin Ra, and I said it's not safe as well? To me, that is irrational. So for any parent that empathizes or any person that values community, this is what we are currently living through. It's a lot of irrational decisions that that Child Protective Services and DCF and the Save Children Coalition has done, where they have criminalized us based off of how we articulate ourselves, how we move, the drumming, the things that is not normal in the environment that we live in. So I just want to say, thank you to the support from everyone on behalf of my family, that I don't wish this upon anybody. And what as a mother, to me, if I have to experience what I've experienced, to watch my wife cry, to see her hurt and can't do nothing about it. And then for have them to be so arrogant to feel that they're doing right by my family and they know they're wrong. Even when we get our babies back, there's trauma that they don't put my family through. And even with all that trauma, as a family, we don't have no issue with you. So if DCF, CPS, Safe Children Coalition, Children's Legal Services, every party that's involved, the courts is with this, we don't have an issue with you. We just want our babies back. And we want every person that has done wrong by us to be held accountable. There's nothing wrong with that. And so when they try to bait us to get us to respond in an aggressive way or a negative way, we don't do that. We're a very peaceful people. A lot of people that have contacted us, they're like, man, if that would have happened to me, I would have done this and done that. At the end of the day, and my wife, we don't have an issue with these people, but they have an issue with us. We operate in the confinements of the law and of statute, and we respect that. So we have seen criminal behavior towards us. So the support that we have gotten, we are thankful, because we don't want nobody to go through this.
Yeah, I never imagined my first experience in motherhood being this way, but all of this, there has to be change that comes from this. That's how I see it. Because the way things spiraled out of control inside of a place that is supposed to be hospitable, I couldn't fully understand and understand inside of me what was really going on. And, I play back all the moments all the time, and it just was all that. That's not how it was supposed to be. I went somewhere to get assistance. My baby was supposed to come home with me. My baby should be home with me, with us. That's the way it's supposed to be. We should have never been criminalized for getting assistance for something. That's not the way it's supposed to be. This is unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. It's not. We got to remember, and this is one thing I would like to say, because it's the opportunity to say it. For doctors, nurses, any medical professionals, you are a civil servant. Your job, you took that role, you chose to go into that career to serve the people collectively. You knew getting into that profession, you are going to deal with a diversity of people. You're not going to deal with one demographic of people. So it's your responsibility that regardless of who comes in, what they look like, what race they are, what their cultural background is to be transparent, and be there to assist. To be there to assist any family that's coming into your environment in the reason why your institution was put in place. Hospitals, doctors' offices, dentists, audit, anything under the ladder. Your objective is to serve. You are a civil servant. Your role is not to dominate and judge parents. So this is something that, like I say, we don't wish this on nobody, because all we have ever done is make conscious, responsible decisions in regards to our babies based off of our belief of knowing that all the answers are in nature. That's not my opinion. The science has been done. So when we go into these medical institutions, collectively as a people, I just hope that if you are a nurse or a doctor, a nurse practitioner, a lactation specialist, whoever the case may be, that you can be more transparent and respect people's cultural beliefs and cultural background. Listen to them, because that didn't happen to us. Listen to each other. Just because you never seen free-form locks or natural curls or never experienced something doesn't mean you have the right to judge it. So if you are from a part of the country I've never experienced, I want to hear about it. I want to learn from you so I can know how to respect you. That didn't happen with my family. Being vegan is not a crime. Not eating meat and consuming dairy is not a crime. The science has been done about meat and dairy causing cancer in the body. So we're not here to debate that. We just want to know that as a people, collectively, we have the right to be transparent with each other and respect each other. And that you don't have the right as professionals to judge a group of people and criminalize them because of how they speak and how they look or what their cultural background is. That's all this whole situation is about. And I repeat again, we have not broken any law. We have not broken any statute. We are a respectful family that is aware of what so-called rules are in place to operate in this country. And the fact that we have been criminalized and been attacked like this for almost half of a year right now.
Your servants.
And Amun Ra has not been returned. We're just here to say thank you for everybody supporting us. Just thank you. And we are grateful for it.
Your support helps us
bring light to all of this, because change is going to happen. It's going to happen. That's
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sy and Ty. I'm going to answer one question that was asked, a clarification question. The 3 children that Ty was referring to are Ty's biological children. That was Miss Lee, Ty's biological children with a previous partner. So that.
I'm so glad they cleared that up. Good. Thank you for that. That's a great question. That's a great clarification, because I was wondering, and a lot of people were, where did these other 3 kids come from? Was it some foster kids that he took in because the GoFundMe says he does something with foster? Okay, so the 3 other kids are with another woman. Okay, and Ra and the at the time 10-day-old baby is with Syesha. Okay, so we're talking about 5 kids. Okay, 3 with a different mother, 2 with this mother. And so then that still holds the question, why were the 3 other kids, there's a lot of things going on. Why were the 3 other kids removed? They were returned, so I guess, I don't know, I guess they're deemed safe. What happened? There's a lot of missing bits and pieces, I think.
Hopefully that clarifies the media's question about that. The other questions we are going to have to save for another time or in writing. I've welcomed back Jasmine Rand, attorney, to the stage. I've also welcomed Denisha Prendergast, who will close our meeting today. Denisha Prendergast is an actress, an activist, the co-founder of We Have the Right to Be Right. She's also Bob Marley's great-granddaughter. My apologies. And I'll welcome Denisha to the stage.
Greetings, everybody. Give thanks for being here. And give thanks for taking the time to support Sy and Ty. It's a very important call to action for us as human beings within this time.
We see Bob Marley's daughter?
In our world. We see as adults what is happening, and we try to be present to be the change. But if we can't be present to save our children from certain trauma, does it not then mean that the seeds that are being sown right now will never bear the potential fruit that they can?
Mm-hmm.
Sy and Ty, as I've said to you before, and I will say to you again, Aset and Amun Ra have aunties and uncles all over the world who are fighting for them. You are not alone.
Mm.
Today is Marcus Garvey's birthday. Marcus Garvey, one of the greatest civil rights leaders of our times. He was the one who first said, emancipate yourself from slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds, which is then echoed in Bob Marley's music. And I want to call our attention to that right now. If we do not lift our voices in protest, if we do not stand up and shine our light as bright and as far and as wide as we can reach, if we do not do what we can do today, then there will be no tomorrow. We have the right to be right. And protocol should never supersede humanity. Aset was born on August the 1st, Emancipation Day. There's no coincidence in that. And as Derek mentioned earlier, Amen-Ra means son, and Aset means coming together. With this situation, we will continue to shine a light on the systemic racism that is happening institutionally all across the United States, that is now calling our children to be victims while in front of us. Please, public, please, players who can do something about it, do the right thing. We have the right to be right. Thank you so much for your support. And I just want to draw your attention to the fact that this movement has just started. There are other families out there who are calling for attention, who are calling for a platform, who are crying every single night, families being broken. Please use this wave to share their stories as well. Bring our babies home. Bring Ra home, bring Aset home, bring our babies home. There will be a rally that is being planned by the family this Sunday. Stay tuned for more details. We are looking for your support. Natural lifestyle has been vilified, and we want to show you that before we fight, we are willing to educate. So come support, learn. We don't need to be afraid of each other. One love is an action, not just a song that my grandfather sang. Thank you for your time.
Random.
Thank you so much, Denisha. As I said before to the press, Denisha is one of the co-founders of our organization with whom I'm appearing today. We Have the Right to Be Right. We Have the Right to Be Right is going to funnel a lot of the media requests and other questions coming in from the public. I would like to remind everyone at this press conference that there has been a GoFundMe set up for the family. It will be used for everything from legal fees to organizing to caring for the family. And those links and those media assets as well will be made available to all registered participants in today's section.
I think that's it.
We have hundreds of people viewing live on the YouTube right now. We also thank Tyron. Specifically, we want to thank Kim Kardashian and Tina Knowles and a number of other influencers and individuals who really care about this family, who have made an effort to share their opinions and support and to broadcast this to their audiences as well. So thank you all for that. Thank you so much, Denisha, for sharing your wise words and the words of your grandfather and Marcus Garvey as well. It's an honor and a privilege to be in this room for me with everyone here. And I will be closing out the session today. Peace, love, and blessings from everyone, to everyone, for everyone. Thank you so much. And everyone have a wonderful day.
Well, wow. That was certainly interesting. Ebony, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate the gift. Gracias. Thank you. I'm going to hang for a couple of minutes and then I got to roll out because I got to go to the airport. I don't even know, man. It's all over the place, kind of my mind. Let me see here. I want to say what the doctor here said, but I lost the comment now. She was talking. Well, I call it one. As long as the baby is getting adequate vitamin B12 and vitamin D3, as well as calcium supplementation, the baby/child a vegan diet is perfectly fine. So the thing with and like I said, I'm not the vegan person. You don't want to. There's dedicated channels. I'm not sure if these channels have covered it. This is a great topic. If there's any vegan channels out there, and I'm not saying, I don't think anybody's saying that you can't have a healthy baby. But you really need to know what you're doing with supplementation, at least with the B12 stuff. I don't know what happened that day. Oh, let me see if I could pull up. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull up this video. Tanika sent me this thing a couple of days ago. There's some sort of small clip of the incident. I would love to see if they have the full clip. Let me just check in the DMs on Discord. Here, Tanika sent me this. Let me play this for you guys real quick while we're here. And you can listen in. The only thing is we're missing out on. I think there's bits and pieces that are important and crucial. Sorry, that we're missing out on. GoFundMe is popping. Listen, I think it's great that they're challenging CPS or whatever, because there has been, like when we looked into Dr. Sally, and if you guys want me to, man, if you really want, if you guys are going to watch, I'll make a Dr. Sally Smith video if you want it. But that woman, clearly there's issues and with cases. I mean, you'd have to look at the numbers too. I don't know what her overall cases are. Were there a couple of cases she got wrong and most of them are right? She seemed very abrupt and kind of cold shouldered to what I was reading in that one article. But check this out.
It is happening. It is temporary. Right now, it is only temporary.
But what do we do?
Yeah, what is the crime? Can you please give us a charge?
But who said we neglected?
You refused the B12 shot today.
I didn't refuse it. I said his father was on his way.
No. There was no refusal.
So you're saying you're taking my child away from me?
I am.
Right now,
That's
you
not
can't take my child away from me.
That's not going to happen. Right now, in this time, I'm filing criminal charges against this hospital.
Never said
I didn't do anything. This is so injustice. I didn't do anything. I've been complying to everything you say. I said, please wait till his father gets here.
This is going to happen. It's going to. And it is temporary. It's just a matter of how much more difficult you and Ty want to make this circumstance. Regardless, it is happening. It is temporary. Right now, it is only temporary.
So that's like part of the clip. I don't know if they have a full one. That's their Instagram if you ever want to check it out. This is the viral video we watched the other day, 3 million views. The father did a good one that I haven't had a chance to watch. I think it was this one. This is a good one, but this is an hour long, so we'd have to do a different stream if we wanted to look at it. But this is where he shows video of Ra. Ra in the hospital. I played part of this in the 20-minute video.
This is in the hospital. Show y'all something.
Okay.
How bad he was doing. This is Amin Ra in the hospital with his amazing mother, my wife's side. This is how bad he was doing in the hospital, my people. You see Amin Ra, right? This is how bad he was doing in the hospital. Y'all want to see the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? This is how bad our son was doing in the hospital. You see the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? This is how bad our son was doing. This is how bad our son was doing. I'm going to keep repeating this. This is how bad our son was in the hospital. Let me stop this real quick and repeat this over again so y'all can understand how insane this situation is.
Professionals that this child was malnourished.
It's over Amin Ra's failing health.
Our investigators learned through medical professionals that this child was malnourished, underweight, very unhealthy.
Very unhealthy.
And we were also told by these medical professionals that unless he got the treatment that he needed, ongoing, consistent treatment, that he would die.
He would die. Do it look like Amin Ra is anywhere near death or ever been near death? He went there for fluids while transitioning from breastfeeding to independent drinking. This is like a child that's about.
Here's one thing I was wondering. I had this thought as we were watching. I get, okay, they're saying they needed help for transitioning, for fluids. Well, I guess that's why they would go to the hospital. Because I was thinking, like, can't they just go to the doctor's office? But maybe the doctor's office wouldn't be able to provide, I don't know. What do they mean by fluids? IV, or is he dehydrated? Why the hospital? I guess maybe they needed to go to the hospital for that. I don't know.
To die? This is him in the hospital. Y'all see the nurses? I got more for you. This Amin-Ra in the hospital. Does this look like a child that's about to die?
Okay.
This is Amin-Ra in the hospital. I'm gonna say this repeatedly.
Okay.
This is Amin-Ra inside Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. Does it look like Amin-Ra is anywhere near death? But this is a statement that Manatee County Sheriff's Department is making. I'll show another one for you.
The vitamin B12 deficiency thing that I looked up, again, I'm not a medical expert. It's not something that a child's going to be in a hospital for months on end on life support. From what I saw, if it's critical, just based on some of the dosing, it's like a 10-day dosing thing. You're not going to be bedridden for months and months and months. You know, I don't, you know, like I said, I don't know what happened in there. And I think, you know, maybe they could have worked with the parents to try to do something, try to work it out. The thing that I thought was interesting is that when the friend spoke on the previous live stream, the 20-minute, I included it in the 20-minute video. The friend was talking about they were trying to give 1,000 mics and that's too much. And it's like almost kind of like implying that it's like deadly. And it really, from what I read, isn't. But, I mean, you heard the video where the mother was saying supposedly they didn't deny, they were just waiting for the husband. I don't know. But, and then you got to take in context with Dr. Sally Smith's history and those articles. I want to do some more research on that. I don't want to go based off of just one article. I want to see what else I can pull up on her.
Cause it's a beautiful thing watching my wife read to Amin-Ra, cause Ra loves books. So this is her reading to him in the hospital.
And I don't know what vitamin B12 deficiency would look like, but I mean, baby looks okay. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say, you know, it's just video clips. Super cute baby.
Does this look like a child that's at imminent risk for death or in danger? Does he look like he's extremely sick? This is in the hospital, my people. And let me stop this. Let me play this again. This is what Manatee County Sheriff Department spokesperson made about Amin-Ra in the hospital.
Down my child. Investigators say doctors called after concerns over.
I believe at this point in the hospital, the baby was around 15 months old. Around. When the baby was taken March 11th, and one of the articles said 15 months.
Amin-Ra's failing health.
Our investigators.
Hey, let me make this clear. This whole thing about weight, okay? In this country, they have a weight chart when it pertains to children. They have a weight chart in regards to how much a child should weigh based off of their age when you are a young infant and toddler. The chart that they have only pertains to formula-fed children, babies. Amin-Ra is not a formula baby. He's an all-natural breastfed baby. They don't have a chart on what the expectation of weight is for breastfed babies. So now you got a philosophy that they're using that can't.
No, this is the first child. This is not the 10-day baby. This is Ra. This is where the whole mess started.
Cannot be matched with what is in reality. So our son is healthy, and you.
So 15 months would be a year and like 3 months.
You want him to weigh a certain amount based off of a chart that's based off of formula babies. So that's one thing people should know. But I just want people to hear this again, what they said.
Learned through medical professionals.
Yeah. But that's it. They have, you can check out their page because I have to head out here. You can check out Syesha. I put all the links in the description too from last time. So if you want to check out the petition, the GoFundMe, whether you agree, disagree, whatever, I think it all kind of helps get this story out, however you feel. I'm reserved in some of my feelings. I feel like there's things that we don't know. Maybe it will come out, maybe it won't. I don't know. But at the end of the day, hey, we're all talking about it and we're noticing and paying attention and we're having, conversation back and forth. And I think that's the goal, at least with this. Obviously, they want to get their kids back, but to get attention on this story. So anyway, man, thank you guys so much for coming through. Appreciate it. Please hit like if you wouldn't mind. It helps the algorithm. It helps the stream. Subscribe and turn on the bell notifications because I'm putting out a lot of videos. We did 3 videos today. Did you see? Oh, this is the 3rd one. Did you see the other 2? We're doing a lot of constant coverage. So when you turn on the bell, when you click the bell, you got to make sure it's all. Like you got to manually click it. All notifications. I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, just seeing. I was looking at their behavior a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad. I mean, super cute baby. Adorable. And the thing too that I mentioned in that video, one more thing, was that the cop, and this isn't, I pointed out in the 20-minute video. If you don't have hours, check out the link I put in the description. It's 20 minutes long. But the cop was like, I forgot he was like, were you in Manatee County? Because they said that they were going to go to the sheriff's office, that they went to the sheriff's office, but like that nobody was there or they were on their way or something. And the cop's like, so were you in Manatee County? And he's like, kind of answers, but not really. He's like, He's like, oh, okay, because your GPS was in Lakeland. And he was like, oh, well, that's besides the fact. And I feel like he slipped that in, kind of. But also it tells you, too, they're tracking their phones. And I don't know the legality of that. Maybe that's a thing they do. I don't know. Once your child's in the system, I don't know how that works. But that was interesting. So, yeah, thank you guys, man. Have a good night. Love you. Be safe. All the craziness going on in the world. And right now, what everybody needs to do is be healthy and lose weight. And whatever you do, whether you're taking the stuff or not, start eating healthy. I've been exercising. I've been getting some sun. I need to drop a lot of weight. I've been eating healthier. I've been cutting off the hours that I eat at night and stuff, like 8 p.m., 7 p.m. So just be healthy, man. Whatever you do. All right. Please do the Dr. Sally. All right. Better not get 100.